Welcome back, guys. This is the beginning of the second set. I'm going to cover the Forest of Giants. I'm not going to be covering everything as I said in the previous video. This is just going to be a clip show, probably ending with me fighting the boss of the area. First things first, you want to try and get these enemies one at a time. Managing multiple enemies at this point is a little difficult with your low damage potential. These enemies are mostly based on sight. I don't think they have very good hearing. Later enemies might have better. These guys have a tendency to do that really long combo you just saw. See, we got a second one. Yep, here. And I let him hit me. That was bad. Low range of the dagger is really painful. There we go. Not hard to manage these guys, but try and take it slow and steady. Your first bonfire is over here. I think we can get there without aggravating the others. Even if you do, when you rest on the bonfire, it'll reset all the enemies here. You can see we can travel back to Majula, sing the Twix. Every time you unlock a bonfire by lighting it, you can travel to that bonfire at any time. Anytime you sit down to recover your Estus flask, which I just realized I never showed you how to improve your Estus flask. I'll be back in a moment. When you come to the Herald, she'll make mention of a shard.
However,
you talk to the Herald, she will upgrade your flask with another drink. You'll start gathering these pretty quickly soon. I can't remember the exact total, but it becomes more than enough, especially as you get better at not being hit. See you back in the forest. Minor but important note here, you may notice that the Forest of Fallen Giants has an orange border. That is basically the suggestion for co-op that the game gives you. An orange border means that there's a lot of players around your soul memory level who are playing online. So if you're looking to get summoned to do boss fights or to help other players to do their game, this is where you do it. We don't have the item yet to do so, but we will be picking it up in this area. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to get help with areas, or if you're trying to get extra souls by helping others. This open area has a lot of enemies that will wake up when you get close to them. Try not to activate too many at once. Behind the tree over there is a tougher enemy who will be throwing fireballs down on you while you're doing this, so try to avoid that half of the screen as much as possible until you've wiped out the enemies down here. On the right side of that area we just were, there's a ladder, leads up to some more items, don't miss it. To make this jump, you just get lucky right here. I got unlucky. I will come back when I have that item. Much better. There we go. And for our trouble, ooh, 10 throwing knives. Very useful for pulling enemies if you don't have a ranged weapon. Whew, sometimes I forget how hard this area is when you're starting out. As you may notice, my dagger is damaged, and I also was using this broken straight sword. You get 2 of those here, so there's no shame in swapping weapons when they get low on durability. Just be ready for it. Don't do it in the middle of a pull. I ended up fighting 4 of them at once, and my straight sword almost broke and I had to retreat. You also notice you get a decent amount of souls. I actually died and had to recover some. Just save them up. If you do get into a dangerous situation, try to die somewhere where it won't be too hard to get your souls back, like around the edge of the arena. If you have it right in the middle, you're going to have to fight way more enemies to recover. In tight corridors like this, be aware that your weapon will ping off the walls. Not only does this do durability damage to the weapon, but enemies are not going to have the same issue that you are. Try to use thrusting attacks, or these strong attacks usually ignore the terrain when they go through, just so that you don't end up getting sliced to pieces because you hit a wall. This firebomb guy here sucks. Feel free to ignore him. Little burp there. Yeah, he won't stop you from coming up the ladder. You know, he'll just stare at you with a stupid hollow face. The bonfire is right behind these doors here. But if you do not go this way, this guy will come behind you. Oh dear. Oh, that was close. Yeah, you can see I was hitting the wall there. That was dangerous. But yeah, once you get through all that horrible, horrible section, you should have a small collection of souls to spend, and your next bonfire. And along with the bonfire we have a new merchant. She has some very useful items. If you're going... You know... I was gonna go for the Morning Star, but I feel like the club is even better. It's got more accessible stats. But while we're here, we might as well buy the key to the blacksmith. You want to spend a certain amount of souls with her. I'm not sure the exact amount. And you also want to exhaust her dialogue to the point where she says, "It's high time I start packing up."
Lively times these are.
She doesn't like if you don't spend souls with her. So we've already rested up. Before we go back, I'm going to show you up here, because the little circular area is kind of useful. So we come up this hallway, and we have a locked door. Now, most of the time when a locked door shows up, you can't really do anything until you find the key. But with this one here, it is breakable. And our first lizard. Oh, we don't really have a good weapon for him. Yeah, we didn't do enough damage in time. He'll respawn every time you use the bonfire. They drop equipment for improving... Well, they drop items that will improve your equipment. So yeah, explore around here, get the items, and I'll show you another trick in a second. Oh, I almost forgot about this. This is, up here is where you get the small white sign soapstone. That is an incredibly useful item, although it will be supplanted very soon. This allows you to drop a summoning sign. I shall equip it just to show you guys. You carve your name into the ground with it. Players can see this on their world if they're a similar soul memory to you, and it will allow them to bring you into their world to help them. The small one, you have a limited amount of time that you can be in their world. I want to say 3 minutes, where you can help them fight enemies and overcome obstacles. If you get into a boss fight with them, like if they enter a boss arena, you will stay until the boss is defeated. Over here, if you can manage to drop just right, with another divine blessing, always useful, and we're back in the bonfire. Okay, back from using the bonfire, might as well point out there's an item box function in the bonfire. This is a great way to store some of the extra items that you don't really need. I'm not a big fan of that hand axe. I'm going to keep that. We're going to be looking at the difference between the club and the Morning Star. Waiting for that. Binoculars are kind of cool. Not really, though. Although sometimes it's cool to look at the skybox, which can be very pretty. Keeping that. We do have some shields now. Do we have the stats freezer levels? Going into some equipment right now. Let's see. So you may notice the Morning Star has slightly higher damage. I believe it causes bleeding damage, which is also useful, but at this level you're not going to be hitting hard enough or often enough to bleed most enemies, I don't believe. We're going to aim to use this club right here. You notice it has slightly more accessible stats, 5 less strength, and it also has A rank scaling in strengths compared to the C in the Morning Star. This will be useful because we're going to be pushing strengths, and so it'll surpass the damage of the Morning Star quite quickly. But we do not have the stats for it just yet. But we can fix that quite easily. I hope.
bear, seek less.
Can you get us 12 strings? Ooh, so close. I'm gonna go kill a couple enemies and come back. Alright, so now we are using the club. The club has a very different moveset from the dagger. Much slower wind-ups, much heavier stamina use. Yeah, that strong attack is... That delay on the strong attack, you're gonna have to lead enemies into that, basically. That's pretty quick. Backstep. That's slow too. Oh, that looks pretty nice. So we have a shield too. The only shield that I have the stats for right now is this little leather thing. Holding down the left shoulder button will bring the shield up so that you're defending with it. Holding the hitting the left trigger will do that. That is a parry. I will try and demonstrate that parrying is not one of my strengths, and it's a slow level. You're not really skilled at it either. Small shields are better at parrying. Mediums can also parry, but they have fewer parry frames, more or less. Large shields, instead of having a parry, they have kind of a bash. Since we got the key for the blacksmith, might as well show that off too. We open this up, you talk to the blacksmith, I'm very happy. What's a chest in here, do this, that. Short bow, not bad, but we definitely don't have the dex for that. Talk to him, he'll be like, oh yay, now I can get back to work, get out of here. He won't move until you visit the bonfire, and then leave. That should reset him, and now he will be back to work. Bitch.
You, the name's Lenigras. No, you're a quick.
He will let you, he'll sell you a decent range of equipment. I've always enjoyed the mace, but it's definitely not as good as the club. Different kinds of arrows, also useful. A single repair powder and 10 titanite shards, which you'll need later on when we definitely get forward. We do have a single titanite shard that we just can't... Oh, shush. We should have a tiny soul, which is just enough to push us over the edge. Alright. We can use this. You see, we will get 10 extra damage, and if you notice the A down there for our strength scaling, way down here, is going up. It's still rank A, but it's slightly better rank A, which just means you get a... So you're getting more strength from the weapon, and the scaling from your strengths are both very useful. The other thing this gentleman can do, if you break a piece of equipment, either by getting hit too much with your armor, or if you use a weapon until it breaks, he will repair it. But it can get expensive, so let's try not to let that happen. Okay, meet you back in the forest again.